Welcome to my first vegetable garden. Today I want to show you how to transplant the kale and collards that we started as seeds in the beginning of January. And I have a couple of examples here. And remember, the idea was to put 2 or 3 seeds per cell. We're going to thin them to just one plant. Today's February 15th. These seeds were planted on January 22nd, so it's been about 17 days. And you can see they're a little bit leggy. That's okay. Kale grows really fast, and these have been under grow lights for 14 hours, and the lights really have been about 2 or 3 inches over them, but they can still get leggy. And legginess is when this stem here gets a little bit taller than it normally would. The plants will right themselves and toughen up. But at the 2nd week mark, this is when I thin them to 1 plant per cell. You keep the strongest plant and just gently pull out the other one. So this is at about 2 weeks. You thin them to 1 plant per cell, and if you notice, the seeds didn't come up in here. That's why you're putting in 2 or 3 seeds. You don't want to wait around for seeds that don't germinate. At about 5 weeks, your plants are going to look like this. And this plant, again, a little bit of legginess. When we transplant it, we're going to put it right up to here, so this will get buried. These stems get really thick, really strong. This is already getting woody, so you don't have to worry too much about legginess with your kales. And you can see, in this case, none of the seeds in this area germinate. So again, 2 or 3 seeds. But when they get to about the 4 or 5 weeks worth of growth, you're going to transplant them. And to transplant them, it's a pretty easy process. I use styrofoam cups that I do recycle, and I can get 2 or 3 years out of them. I'm going to have to refill that one. When you set up your transplants, you can use cups, you can use containers like this if you want to recycle containers from flowers that are put out. My neighbors give me a bunch of these. But any kind of cup that has at least this much space, or any kind of container that has that much space, you want to be able to hold the root growth until you get them out into the garden. So all I do is poke in 2 holes, maybe 3. I'm still going to bottom water. And what you do, let me refill that, is loosely drop the soil. And I show you about thumb pecking. You're not going to do it with your transplants. You're just going to make a big circle and try and press the soil against the sides. And what you would do is pinch out from the bottom. That will loosen it. Gently pull it out. Don't do anything with the roots. You can see the roots are all over. They're healthy, but they're starting to, they've actually filled up the whole cell. That's why you need to get them into here. So drop that down. Now remember, I said I want to try and get it to here. This isn't quite deep enough. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to get it down a little bit further. Collapse the soil around it. And now you press it in. And you can see I got close to my mark, but this plant looks nice and healthy. The little extra growth is below the soil, below the soil surface. But this is ready to go, and this would go into, I use a big roasting aluminum foil pan, like for turkeys and stuff, and I just drop these all in until I have somewhere between 24 and 36 containers in that aluminum pan, and I just bottom water. Always bottom water if you can. So I would just fill that aluminum pan up to about here. It'll absorb the water from the bottom and the nutrients from the bottom. At this point too, you're going to need to feed them with a half-strength liquid fertilizer. I even fertilize kale sometimes at the 2 and 3 week mark, but definitely when you transplant them, you need a half-strength liquid fertilizer. And I always recommend half-strength fertilizing because you don't need full strength with seed starts. The fertilizer can concentrate in the cells, and you don't want an overconcentration of fertilizer. Just give them enough to keep growing. Let me show you what I use sometimes. At the transplant point, this is a fertilizer. It's Garden Tone. It's a organic product. It also has a lot of enzymes in here for good soil growth. It has bacteria, all kinds of stuff that's supposed to help your soil be healthy and feed your plants at the same time. And it's probably off camera, but this is a 3-4-4 fertilizer. 3% nitrogen, 4% phosphorus, and 4% potassium. And it's a lower end fertilizer. That's what you want. You don't need, like a 12-12-12. And I hesitate now because There's no perfect way to fertilize your plants. There's 100 different ways, and you can't always get these different fertilizers where you live. Gardening is a global activity. So if you find like a 10-10-10 fertilizer, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about the numbers. But when you fertilize these plants, go with half strength. And this is what I do sometimes, is just halfway fill my cup. Use gloves if you want. A pinch of this fertilizer right in there, mix it into the bottom, and then I just fill the rest to the top. That's all you really need. Maybe a little sprinkle right on top there. Nothing crazy, nothing excess. Your plants will enjoy that, and it'll save you money too because you're not overusing all your product. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com and also check out my YouTube videos. Thanks.